You know, the Boston Bruins in the mid-1960s were saturated with prospects comparable to the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens systems, even before the draft became a regular occurrence. Now, this skater is connected with so many people in NHL history, and in New Brunswick history as well, because he was a teammate of all people. Former mayor of Dalhousie, New Brunswick, Clem Trombley, with the Oklahoma City Blazers, were both Clem and a number of players and this guy were part of probably one of the better minor hockey squads of the 1960s. That team, I think, would have been comparable to a lower-end NHL team in 2021. So we have to be talking about the long-time player, announcer, what do you call, character, in a good way. You know, every color commentator needs to be a character in one way or another. And this guy is, three different people requested this guy on the channel, and I thank everybody for doing so. Sorry I got to a little bit late, but I've been pretty busy. We're going to be talking about the tall drink of water, Jim Lorentz. Now, with Jim Lorentz, better known as Batman, we'll get into that in a second. If you don't know the story, you will. 6 feet, 180. First came to major prominence with the great Boston Bruins affiliated squad, the Niagara Falls Flyers of the OHA. Now, he was undrafted, like I said, but played 3 seasons in Niagara Falls. Best season was his last, 92 points in 48 games. A very, very good two-way player. Now, his first season with Oklahoma City of the CPHL, he had 83 points in 70 games, including 33 goals. By 69, he found himself with the Bruins for a cup of coffee, 4 points in 11 games. Put up another 33 goals for Oklahoma City in 56 games, but had 126 points combined in the regular season and playoffs. 101 in the regular season, 25 and 12 games in the playoffs. Now, by 1970, the Stanley Cup number one for Boston in the early 70s. Lorentz had a full season with 23 points in 68 games, including 7 goals, and sort of like a defensive fourth-line forward, with 1 big goal in 11 playoff games. Now, this is where it gets quite interesting. Now, at the time, Boston's lineup was stacked. By trade, by draft, by designated players. After the Cup win in 1970, the Bruins were trying to move some players, and Lorentz was one of them. He was sent for the Blues' first pick in the 1970 amateur draft for Ron Plum. Now, although Ron Plum didn't work out like he expected, still the number 1 draft pick is a pretty big deal for a first-year player. Now, he played the 71 season with St. Louis before splitting 72 between the Blues, the Rangers, and the newly formed expansion Buffalo Sabres. Now, he became a legend in Buffalo. Over his more than 6 seasons with the Sabres, he had 134 goals, 197 assists, and 331 points in 487 games as a very, very strong forward who would take on the best opposing players from all the major teams. Now, he had his best season in the Sabre uniform with 27 goals in 1973 and a personal best 70 points in the 75 season. That's a year, of course, where Buffalo got all the way to the finals, knocked off Montreal in 6 games in the semis, and came within a hair, 2 games, of winning the Cup. Now, in 1975, during Game 3 of the Stanley Cup final against the Flyers at the Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo, Lorentz earned the name Batman when he swatted a real bat out of midair with his stick. And he said in published reports later on, well, he said, what am I supposed to do? He said the bat was holding up the game. I had to take care of it. There was a basketball player many years ago that kind of did it with his hand, but Lorentz did the right thing, with his stick. Now, during the 75 finals, he had 6 goals and 10 points in 16 playoff games, and like I said, were it not for Bobby Clark and the rugged players on Flyers' third and fourth line, and Buffalo's inconsistent goaltending with Crozier, Desjardins, which they're okay goalies, but there wasn't a true number 1 that really hurt them. Now, he's continued to skate with Buffalo until 78, when he retired from the NHL. Now, his final NHL totals, over 659 games, 161 goals, 230 assists, and 399 points. Now, after his retirement, he joined what many consider one of the most important play-by-play teams in NHL history. The great Ted Darling and him were part of it. Excuse me. He started filling in for Ted Darling, and when Darling was on medical leave. Now he was the play-by-play announcing that he did was extremely dramatic, extremely important, and he also filled in for Sabres play-by-play announcer Rick Jeanneret twice. Now, the color commentator and play-by-play, half and half he would do sometimes, was very important to the NHL because he gave an experienced player's perspective, especially with Buffalo, because Buffalo had a whole bunch of young prospects and were having great success over a number of years. Like I said, were it not for Montreal and the Islanders and a few other teams, they would easily won a couple of Stanley Cups, but it didn't. Didn't work out. Now, the idea about Lorentz as well, after he retired after 26 years as a broadcaster team, like I said, predominantly as color commentator, it was not say a sad day, but it was a transition day for the Sabres. The official statement was as follows. By Lorentz. My long association with the Sabres was nothing but positive, and I was fortunate to retire from the game as a player, but be able to stay involved as a broadcaster. I was blessed to work with two of the best play-by-play men of all time, Ted Darling and Rick Jeanneret. This was a tough decision to make, but after 43 years of travel, no joke, as a player and broadcaster, I based my decision on the unwillingness to tackle another long season and grueling travel schedule. Now, to my memory, he was doing cable games, and he may have also be doing, I think he was traveling the majority of the games for the team, unless I'm completely wrong here. So Buffalo had a wide amount of travel to do in a regular season because they're not only doing East Coast, West Coast, and they're always in the playoffs in one way or another, so you do the math right there. Now, Lorentz later stated that if he had been given the same opportunity, Jeanneret later got to reduce his workload to only home games, he would have stayed on with the team. Again, 78, 80, 82 games, as was tradition for the NHL from the 70s well into the modern era. Try covering it. I mean, I got exhausted covering just a major junior and junior A schedules back in the day as a beat reporter. It can be mentally draining because to repeat something that takes 5 to 10 hours a day over a number of weeks, where it's your second job. Your first job should be your family, of course. Right? Now, Lorentz is not only the talented player in his family. His grandson Steven Lorentz made his NHL debut with the Hurricanes on January 8, 2021. Now, he also did a little bit of coaching. He decided to return to Western New York to coach the Hamburg Hawks youth hockey team in 2015. Now, great recognition as well. He was inducted into the Buffalo Sabres Hall of Fame on February 9, 2010. During the first intermission of that night's contest, he told the viewers he's currently working on a full book about salmon fishing and is also an avid fisherman during his retirement from broadcasting. Now, the book is still to be released, but I think it'd be a good read for anybody, especially Maritimers that follow his career. We're a big fan of the various type of salmon fishing. Now, again, Jim Lorentz, Stanley Cup winner, respected player, respected announcer, great color commentator. My only drawback with Lorentz, again, he was in the shadow of a lot of players, like when he was with the Rangers for obvious reasons, the big lineup there, Hatfield, Gilbert, everybody else, played with Buffalo, he had the French connection. But here you're going to put it in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. 23 plus goal seasons with Buffalo, 27, 23, 25, and 23. Again, the only bad season he had in the plus-minus was 1974. Again, showed great defensive skill. 75 at plus 17. in 70 games and a very gentlemanly player. You know, I'm kind of surprised he never was. He might have been up for the Lady Byng, but never got it. But over a number of seasons, he would rarely take a major penalty. And that shows his intelligence and tenacity. But the only person I think is not a fan of him is DeBat. And I saw DeBat die, and DeBat, not say he deserved to die, but it's either DeBat or the game. So this is the way it works. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, or subscribe. Don't forget, if you're a Jim Lorentz fan, check out these many interesting OPG and Topps hockey cards over the years. It's a very, very interesting format of the 1970s when it came to Rangers and Sabres cards, because of it seemed to be kind of the bright effect. It's quite interesting. So Lorentz was not only an interesting player, his cards were very interesting. They're very, very collectible, as we like to say. Thanks for listening. Bye.